Hi, you are on the Elevate Show on Demand, and I'm excited to invite to the stage one of our partners, Gidon Sobel, founder and president of Purple Plum Consulting. Gidon is here to talk to us about a very special solution that he built on Monday.com for real estate agencies and brokerages. Gidon, come join me on stage. Thank you for being here.
Hey, great to be here.
All the way from Atlanta, Georgia.
That's right.
Gotta love the South. Tell us, okay, I gotta ask, because you're not, so far we've been talking to Monday employees, and you're not a Monday employee.
No.
Okay, what it is that you do?
Great question. I am, and my team, Purple Plum Consulting, is a Monday partner. And what we partners do is we're really part of the whole Monday machine, if you like, one of the arms. And we focus on supporting customers locally. In our case, it's North America. And we typically focus on some verticals that we have some expertise or have some affinity towards. In our case, that's real estate. So really, it's just a way of Monday servicing the needs of different customers in a more kind of high-touch way.
Oh, so and you built a specific solution for the real estate business,
right.
The industry.
Well, I have to give credit to my team, but yes, we have built a solution.
Well, they're not here right now to talk.
They're
right?
not, but they'll be listening.
Okay.
So our solution is all around how Monday.com can be leveraged for the real estate industry, whether it be residential brokerages or investors or commercial brokerages. Really a lot of applicability for Monday for a variety of parts of the real estate industry. And our solution is really geared to help give those folks a jump start in using Monday.com.
What type of value do you supply to those people?
Right. Yeah, obviously a great question. Depending on who they are, the value that resonates is different. On one end of the spectrum, the owner, the brokers, they get to see the big picture. They get to see, how was my team doing last week? How are they going to do this week? If it's the team themselves, the transaction coordinators, they get to make sure they don't miss steps, they don't miss dates, they don't drop files, and invariably cause problems downstream. So really it depends on who you are on the team within a brokerage and which part of Monday resonates with them.
So Gidon, how did you start working with Monday, and how did you even start focusing on real estate?
Yeah, it's a great question. Initially, I started Purple Plum Consulting to focus on the areas that I had a background in, which was retail and restaurant technology. And I was working with a particular restaurant company managing a large rollout of theirs, and we needed a tool to manage the project. And I kind of Googled, to-do list tool, stumbled on Monday, saw that it was inexpensive, started playing with it, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is not just a tool. This is going to be big. Something inside of me really spoke to me. And thereafter, really, obviously, we started using it and saw the magic that comes with Monday. And then we started focusing more on providing professional services for Monday.com customers. And what we saw very early on is many of the customers were real estate customers, and almost disproportionately so. And they were very early adopters of Monday because there was a massive need for technology within the real estate space. And they figured it out and were quickly using Monday and adopting it, but they needed help. And so we were doing professional service for them. And out of that was born our solution, because we realized there was a huge market, a huge opportunity to help folks in the real estate industry, and that Monday, coupled with our solutions, was the way to do that. So it was really a match made in heaven, so to speak. And since then, we've really focused our energy and our efforts around real estate. We'll be becoming more expert in it. And even recently, we brought on a real estate broker onto our team as a Monday.com professional services consultant to really bring that authority in the real estate industry to bear for our customers and really help them answer questions and address problems that they have. So it's really evolved nicely, and very appreciative of that.
Naturally. But let me ask you this. We're saying real estate, but it's not a one size fits all, right? There are many different needs. How does your solution fit everyone?
Great question. We view our solution as more like a framework. It's not as you said, a one size fits all, out of the box solution. For one type of brokerage, the smaller brokerage, maybe a husband and wife combo, a small team, they just need a solution that can handle their back office operations. And for them, it's a great starting point. And with a couple of small refinements, they can be off to the races and using this and getting out of those clumsy spreadsheets that many, believe it or not, many real estate brokerages still use to manage transactions. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got the larger brokerages and the investment houses. For them, it's an idea generator. They can see how can you connect the dots, put the building blocks together of Monday to service the needs of a large company. And really both of those two cases are perfectly valid, and depending on who you are, that's the approach you take.
And still, I believe, I assume that there are specific points where different companies, customers get most excited about.
Right.
What are those?
And as you would expect, they're not the same points, right?
Yeah.
The owners, the leadership teams typically look for the dashboards, the big picture view of their business. As I said, what's happening in the past, what's coming up, how's their team performing, what are the calendar of activities they need to pay attention to. And then the individual transaction coordinators, they really love the attention to detail, that they can flag, well, this particular property is missing this step. We need to take care of that because it's being flagged as an error. In the past, that might have often fallen through the cracks, and they would have missed the closing date, and then the customer wouldn't have been happy, and everything would go south from there.
You know what I'm excited about? Talking, but more than that, seeing stuff in action. And we've got a demo booth for you here to show us what your solution looks like.
It would be absolutely my pleasure.
So step right up,
do it.
And thank you.
Really excited to share our Purple Plum real estate solutions with everyone. I'm going to step through this in a methodical way. Hopefully things will be nice and clear, and everyone will see some of the value that we're offering. I'm going to start off just very briefly just highlighting what's in our solution. As you can see here, we've got a variety of boards and dashboards. We're going to focus on the residential deal section, and we'll spend some time looking at the dashboards and the underlying boards. Of course, our solution also includes additional templates that we're not going to cover today around operations and leasing and rentals, property management, and a lot more. But today we're going to focus on the residential side of the house. So let's move over to that, and I'll share some of the specifics of what I'm hoping to cover with everyone. We're going to look at it in 3 steps. The first step is the big picture that I mentioned when I was talking to Yadin a few minutes ago. What does it look like from the owner's perspective? And we're going to drill into that, and then we'll talk more about the listing and subsequent accepting of an offer for a property. So let's look at that big picture. Step number 1. As an owner, I want to be able to walk into my brokerage and see what's going on real time. How am I doing against my goals? Who are my top 10 lenders? What are the other data points that are important to me? My sales, my brokerage's fees collected, how I'm performing month over month, the buy side of my team, the sell side of my team. All the different data points that typically are not at the fingertips of a typical brokerage owner. That's all available with our solution, drawing from the underlying boards and workflows that we built as part of our solution. And if something piques one's interest, then you can go ahead and drill into that. In this case, I know we've started with Facebook leads. Well, let's see how we're doing with Facebook. And I can look and see the history of what we've done with Facebook and which homes have come as a result of using Facebook. And that's just one simple example. So that's in terms of our performance to date. Well, let's look at how the team is doing. We have agents on our team. We want to make sure that they're knocking it out of the park. Well, we can see here that 2 of our top agents, Gary Juter and Andrew Carnegie, well, they're going neck and neck, almost the same number of closings in the last few months. So we want to make sure that we're incentivizing them and motivating them to close strong. And we can see that month over month, they've really been very much so on par with one another. And in fact, if we isolate just those 2 agents, we can see more closely how they're doing. And really, it's a tough race. So I think Gary Juter is pulling ahead, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. So that's the team and some insights into how the team is performing. Well, let's look ahead. Well, what's coming up? How many homes are we planning on selling in the next few months? Well, we go over to our projections dashboard, and we can see all of those homes based on their status, nicely laid out on a map. We can see how much each of the team members is expected to bring in, what status they're in. Again, similar metrics, but all focused on the future rather than the past. And again, these are very valuable tools for a real estate brokerage owner to understanding where their business is positioned and where they need to add more energy. So now that we've covered the view from a broker's perspective, the big picture view, we can dive into the view from a transaction coordinator, a TC as they're typically referred to. What I'm going to take everyone through first is the process of getting a home ready for sale, essentially the process of listing that home from a seller's perspective. And when we do that in 2 steps, we go through the coming soon checklist items, and then there's everything we do around marketing that property as an active listing, making sure we try to attract some buyers. So as we delve into the coming soon board, we can see a lot of great functionality that's available in the solution. First of all, we can see a listing of all of our properties and has all the information about each property. But in addition, we can see the property from a variety of perspectives. We can see the key dates for the properties that we need to pay attention to, when it was built, when do we need to take photos, when do we need to have the photos back, all the date dimension of the information. We can see the map view, obviously where do they fall in the areas that we serve. We can see what are the features of the home that we want to call out in our marketing downstream. And we can also have a quick view of all the available documentation online or actual documents that are relevant for every property, all nicely organized so that we can easily access them. But now we've got work to do to get this property ready to be listed. And that's where our solution provides really neat to-do lists and checklist functionality. So if we drill into this particular one, and you'll see that we're going to choose 1032 Houston Mill Road. And you're probably saying, why don't I say Houston? But believe it or not, in our neck of the woods, they pronounce the street Houston. So as a partner, working locally, we say Houston. And we can see that there are a variety of checklist items that need to be done to get this particular property ready to be listed. And these checklists are very customizable. We've started with a great default list here. And all of these need to be completed before the property can be listed. But it looks like we got a problem because 2 of those checklist items around getting multiple listing service photos available are flagged by the team as having an issue. And that's why we're seeing an overall issue with this property. And that's like music to a transaction coordinator's ears, because then they can see there's a problem and they can go and rectify it. In our case, I happen to know, being the transaction coordinator, that I've resolved this issue. I've got the photos. I can notify the team and say, hi team, I have the photos, and I can actually, if I could type correctly, let them know, and I could remove the issues, and we can then continue with the process. So it's really intuitive, easy to use, and allows every step to be appropriately taken care of and nothing to be missed. So that's how we get our property ready to be listed. And once we're at the point where all the checklist items are complete, we can then move it on to being active and start with the marketing steps associated with that property. So let's move over to an example of an active property. So I have another property here on Mason Mill Road. I'll just highlight that one. And so we're at the point where we have marketing activities. Again, we've got some issues with this property, very easily called out, management by exception here. And I can go into the checklist items for this property. Now, note, this is a different checklist. These are marketing-related activities and not listing-related activities. And I can appropriately go through all the various checklist items, adding photos to Instagram and Facebook and contacting people, just as we did before. So the same mindset, but just applied to different steps in the process. So once we've got all of those checklist items ready on the active listing board, we're ready to get some offers, and hopefully they'll come soon. And so that's where we move to the offer side of the process. So if we look at our overview once more, we've now gone through the listing steps. We've got coming soon in the active listing, and now we can help guide the buyers through providing an offer for our property and then managing all the way through to closure, and hopefully everyone's happy at the end. So let's look at the offer process. Well, it all starts with what we call our offer portal. So using the power of Monday's forms, we have set up a multi-step process that really standardizes and simplifies the way for any external agent to provide an offer for a home that we have listed. So in the past, this might have been emailed or faxed or somehow conveyed, and often information is missing and it can take a long time. But this really standardizes the process. You can see all the relevant information, which property are they making an offer, what's the price, what financing are they using, all the contact information, and the list goes on. And all of this information flows into our offer board. And so here we have an example of an offer. Various offers have come in for different properties. We can click into one and see the details of that offer, and all of the information that came in from the form is effectively organized and available in our offer board. But now, there's something more here, because in this case, we've actually received multiple offers for a home. And so we can easily bring up those offers. In this case, we have 2 offers for 1677 Mason Mill Road, and one of them we've declined, and one of them we've accepted. And obviously the one we've accepted are the one that's going to be more lucrative for us, because we're making $37,000, whereas there would be a $10,000 loss had we accepted the other offer. And just by bringing up the 2 offers submitted in a standardized way on our board, we can easily see why we chose one versus the other. Very, very handy and very simple to understand. So once we accept the offer, we move to the next step in the process, which is the pending deal status. On the pending deal board, we really focus on all the steps that are required to close out a transaction. In this particular board, what we're highlighting is how many days are left until the property is going to close. So we have 4 properties here that are closing within 1 day, which means we better be done with our checklist items. And as you can see, none of those properties are even close to being done. So if we clicked into them, we'd see which specific checklist items are problematic, and down the list, which ones haven't even been started. And we can follow up with the team and light a fire if necessary to get them completed in time, and hopefully we'll make the deadline of the following day. And as you can see, there's a long list of pending deal checklist items, because that's really the administrative heavy aspect of the process, which often can really be missed or delayed in a typical brokerage with more manual processes. But hopefully the team will get it done. In fact, I'm pretty sure the team will get it done, which will allow us to move to the final step of the process once closing has actually occurred, which is the payout stage. So now we're at the final stage of the process. The home is closed. We've got to take care of all the different parties involved and make sure everyone gets paid the right amount at the right time. So let's look at our property, 1157 Houston Mill Road, that closed recently and has a signature pending from the broker. We'll take a look at that and we'll just confirm who is the broker that needs to be involved. We have Sylvia Lee there as our broker, and we can very quickly see the details that relate to this particular transaction. We have the commission data for the seller, for the buyer. We have the appropriate commissions, the actual amounts that we pay to both parties, and other important information, including brokerage fees and concession fees if they exist. And not only are they stored here within Monday, they're also being automatically included in a form that we're generating from within Monday that has all of this information and has the actual very form that's going to be signed right here by the broker when we send her this form in a moment. And the way we do that is we click over here to the DocuSign tab, and we have an integration with DocuSign. Again, one of the benefits of Monday is all these great integrations. And we can see here how this particular disbursement authorization will be sent to Sylvia for signature through a standard DocuSign workflow. So really self-contained, within Monday, integration with other tools to generate the document, go for signature, very digitally sound, as I would say. And that really brings us to the end of the process. We've gone through the big picture of how the business is doing, looking at dashboards. We've gone through listing a property through the various boards there, coming soon, and active listings, and the process of accepting an offer on an existing property that we have through the offer portal, managing all the steps required to close out the transaction, and of course, most importantly, making sure everyone gets paid on time and the right amounts. And all of this is enabled through the power of Monday and the Purple Plum real estate solution. It was really a pleasure sharing our solution for real estate with you all. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you can see the value and can take some of this back to your real estate businesses. Yadin, it was really wonderful to be on the set with you and be part of this program. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I'm honestly impressed with what you did with the tool, and thank you for coming here. And I think I might move to real estate after.
I think so.
Thank
Welcome.
you so much for coming.